Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Mansi, for setting the stage. And hi everyone. I think you're having a phenomenal time at the IvyCap Day. I think I am. Today's session is something which is almost goosebumpy for me, right? I mean, because I think I get to speak to two of my most favorite people, right? I'm having them on a single forum. My name is Pankaj Vermani. I'm the founder and CEO of Clovia. And I'm super proud of the fact that both of these guests are part of the Clovia journey. They are the part of our advisory as we speak. So without further ado, allow me to first introduce them. I think it's going to take a couple of minutes because there's a lot to talk about them. And then we'll quickly jump into the questions. I have with me Miss Sharen, Jester Turney. Sharen was the president and CEO of Victoria's Secrets for 16 years, with a revenue totaling almost $8 billion. She's built VS and Pink into the iconic brands that we all know about. Prior to this, she was also an interim CEO of Gloria Jeans in Russia, which is, again, a $600 million fashion retailer. She has over 30 years of experience of growing world-class brands. She's held advisory roles in Marks & Spencer, in Cosmo Lady, Happy Socks, Alliance Data, of course, Clovia, and a lot of others. Sharen is also recognized for her philanthropic work, which is, again, something which is very heartwarming. There's a lot of work she's done to support homeless women and children. She served as the chairman for the Research Institute at Nationwide Children's Hospital. She's a graduate, a Bachelor of Science graduate, with a business education degree from the University of Oklahoma. And she's also an inductee into the State of Oklahoma Hall of Fame, which is the highest honor bestowed upon an Oklahoman. So Sharen, welcome to the session. I have with me Mr. Ravi Dhariwal as well. He's the former CEO of Bennett & Coleman, the Times Group. For the global audience who's tuned in and do not know what Times Group is, they're India's largest media company. They have diversified media platform in radio, television, across the board. And of course, they have the largest selling English newspaper in the world, the Times of India. He's been the worldwide president of International News Media Association from 2011 to 13. He, in fact, was honored, for his voluntary contribution to the world news media in 2014. And a quick anecdote, he's been a PepsiCo employee for 12 years, and he started PepsiCo in India. And we all know, how big and successful that story has been. He's led the beverage business for PepsiCo in India, Africa, Southeast Asia. So there's a 42 years of experience, that he's had in building consumer businesses over the world. He's an engineer from IIT Kanpur and an MBA from IIM Calcutta, and he's been given the Distinguished Alumni Award for both places. So I'm feeling, pretty overwhelmed with almost 72-year plus of combined experience in building multi-global, multi-billion-dollar global businesses here. So welcome both. It's an absolute honor to be moderating to you. I think in keeping with the event's theme, the multiplier effect, the agenda today will be to seek advice from both of you on two broad topics. One is scaling businesses, and another is the role of mentorship. And without further ado, I'm just going to jump straight into the questions. I think the most logical question here would be, and Sharen, maybe I'll start with you. Having run global businesses and scaled them to almost unprecedented heights, what, according to you, would be the key factor for a business in a growing stage, to evolve and scale? I mean, in other words, what should an entrepreneur be focusing on, if he or she is looking to build scale in the business?
When I think about scaling a business, let me just break it down and let me talk about really 3 points. One really is about brand. One is about really operational excellence. And the third one is really about timing. So the first thing an entrepreneur has to do is think about the brand. So obviously they've already launched a brand. And when you're thinking about a brand, you're thinking about the customer that you want to serve, the products that you want to offer. You're thinking about your pricing strategy. And at the same time that you're doing that, you need to not only think about it from a local market, but does this brand have the opportunity to serve a larger market? Then you need to validate that strategy. And once you've validated the fact that you have the opportunity to actually scale, this then gives you the green light to think about how you might want to do that. The second thing is that when you're, because when you think about scaling, it's nothing but identifying, analyzing, solidifying, and zeroing in on your target audience, or simply finding more customers around the world and knowing how you want to connect with them. So once you've kind of got your brand, now you're validating that. What is your growth strategy? So a lot of people say, you know what, I just want to be small, that's fine. But if you really want to scale, how do you thinking about that? And how are you going to stand out among your competitors? Then when you've done all of this work, you validate it, then how are you going to get it executed? And when you think about the operations and the processes, this is very, very key, because you have to have, retail is chaos. And if you don't have the right processes in place, at least it will be controlled chaos. And it really needs to be automated. And the data information that comes to you needs to be very sound, so that when you have your strategy, then you can actually articulate that to your customers, to your employees, to the people, your shareholders, to the partners that you have within the business. Then you have to ask yourself, what is the right timing to scale? And for me, if you're looking at it and you're growing in your own market, or you're having comp growth or comparable sales growth within your own market or your own channels, then this is the opportunity to say, maybe this is the time to grow. And the other piece of it is, as you're thinking about that, you have to think about what are your channels of distribution that you want to be in. And a lot of people make a lot of mistakes because they say, okay, look, I'll go out to 20 channels and then 18 don't work and 2 do work. That's not a winning formula. So you really have to think about those channels of distribution in terms of where you want to place your product. And I would always say, don't go after 4 or 5. When you're thinking about scaling, it is always going to be test, learn, and have a lot of agility. And those are very important factors, because you have to really be able to move, change, and then think about what's next. Also, when you're thinking about scaling, you need to go back to your customer, and you really need to ask them 3 questions. Why did you come to me? What do we do well? And then what's our quirks or something that we do weird, so that you can then refine as you're going out to a larger customer base. It's not going to be fast. It's not going to be quick. It's not going to be easy, but with the right tenacity and the right learning, you will be able to be successful.
Phenomenal stuff. Ravi sir, what's your 2 cents on this?
Sharen has said it all. I'm going to try and say similar things in a slightly different way. I think almost the first thing that is required to scale successfully is to really understand what is your, secret sauce. What is it that is making you work? What is it that is resonating with your consumers, your customers? Or what are the unique features that you have, which, they may be even infirmities, which make you different, make you unique, make you likable, make people come back again and again to you. So really understanding that what is the appeal, what is it that you are really, really good at. I think that is fundamental. That is extremely important. I'll give you an example. This is an example from my work life. Pepsi struggled with Coke for years and years and years and years, decades actually. It was a poor number 2 till they realized that actually what really will make it work is to challenge Coke, is to be a challenger, is to be that smart, elechy, young, but very likable, young guy or young girl who is able to challenge the establishment. Coke was the establishment. Coke was motherhood and apple pie and ubiquitous and everywhere, and everybody loved Coke. It was family and neighbors and community and everything. And Pepsi became this very likable but smart, alecky young guy. And they coined this phrase, the choice of a new generation, and challenged Coke, and then they won against Coke. So it is really understanding single-mindedly what is your secret sauce. That to me is the first thing. And then communicating that secret sauce to everybody, your customers, your own selves, your employees. So, and creating a culture around that secret sauce, creating a whole organization which believes in it and acts accordingly. I think that is, to me, a very, very important, very important thing. Second important thing is what Sharen mentioned again and again. Understand your consumer and your customer very, very well. Understand what is it that they like about you, what is appealing, what creates the appeal to them, and then understand, how do you take that and craft that into your marketing mix. What is it that you will do about your pricing, about your messaging, about your placement, about your promotion, about everything, about your purpose? What is it that you will do? And then see how you can expand it. Can you expand it geographically? Can you expand it by cohorts? How do you expand the appeal that you have to your towards your target audience? The third thing is keep on refining that, keep on evolving, keep on changing, keep on testing, like Sharen said, experimenting, validating, going forward, taking steps at a time. And last thing is put resources behind it. Don't think it's going to happen automatically. Create resources if you don't have one, through people, through capital, through partnerships. Create resources and put resources behind it. Nothing comes easy. And so these I would think are the 4 essential building blocks of scaling up.
Phenomenal. I think this opens a Pandora's box of so many questions. I think as a follow-up, so I think let's double click on the secret sauce, right? So, I think as part of, for consumer businesses specifically, right? I think once you identify the secret sauce, the focus on brand building becomes very important to achieve scale, right? And I think one thing that all of us entrepreneurs struggle with is how to do it effectively and efficiently, right? So any growth hacks that you feel, any squeezed mantra that you can say that in 5 minutes that could change people's lives, no pressure.
I think that, a brand is the heart and soul of an organization, and also the people that make the brand as well. And when you're thinking about a brand, and we've already kind of talked about that, who's the customer you're going to serve? You've already figured all of that out. Now you have to say, well, what's that projection and what's that hook that you can get from your brand? And then there's a lot of rigor that has to go around that. And so when you think about a brand, it's very hard to explain to people how to grow a brand. So I'm going to give some analogies. So if you think about James Bond, and you think about that James Bond movies have been around for a very long time. Now, different actors have placed James Bond, but James Bond doesn't change. You know what? He drives an Aston Martin. He drinks his martini shaken, not stirred. He is always dressed well. He has hot women. The plot may be a little bit different, but he's the same. And that's what you have to think about when a brand, because people come because they love James Bond, whoever plays him, but they love the character of James Bond. Now think about it. All of a sudden you bring out a new movie and you're saying now James Bond's not English. He's Italian. He doesn't drink martinis. He drinks margaritas. Is that the same movie you're making? Because brands are like making a movie. So that is so now you don't have a James Bond movie anymore. So when you think about your brand and the kind of brand that you want, what movie are you making? How do you become consistent with some of those characteristics? And then how does it come across to the customer that keep them engaged? The other thing about a brand that's very, very important, and we all fall into this trap, is that we get customers and then we end up growing old with our customers. Well, guess what? We're all going to die. The brand will die. So you have to figure out how to keep that brand very relevant for today. So that's when I think about a brand, is that what's your hook, what's your characters? Everybody has to play a part in making a movie, where it's the costume person, the lighting, the grips, and that's what has to happen in a brand as well. So once you get those brand characteristics and what that projection is, and staying consistent and true, There's always a different way there's always the different movies of James Bond. There's a different plot, but you know it's a James Bond movie.
Got it. Got it. Ravi sir, any thoughts there?
Yeah, totally agree with Sharen. Sharen, you should try playing James Bond. That apart, consistency is critical for a brand. Brand is something which you should be able to humanize. You should be able to, write the personality of the person that the brand represents. And it is not only about functionality, about, let's take an example, Surf washes clothes. It's not about clean clothes. It's about the mother behind the clean clothes. It's about the love she has for the family. So the function has to be embedded in an emotion for a brand to really work, because, a lot of 99% of us is emotional. So we need to embed that logic, that delivery, that function in an emotion which can almost be humanized. People should be able to relate to it like they relate to a human being. So, but it has to be consistent. You cannot make Times of India into India today. You just cannot. It cannot happen, because then you'll end up destroying it. And don't get tempted or seduced by something good that others are doing. Stay with your secret sauce. Stay with it. And I think I'll give you an example by what I mean. Pepsi was a challenger worldwide, but when Coke came to India, Coke wasn't there. We ruled the roost in India. But we knew deep down that when Coke comes here, every single guy is going to go and try it because it's Coke. And because they were here earlier, etc., etc. And every piece of research told us we should close shop and run away. Every piece of research that they are just going to railroad us. So what did we do? We did something very Pepsi, very smart, Aleki. We put an ad in the paper which says, please cut out this paper, full page ad, take it to your nearest grocer, give it to him, ask him to give you a Coke, and we'll pay for it. Try that Coke, and then you will realize why you should stick with Pepsi. And why we did this is very interesting, because Coke had just launched, their product had just gone into the market. It wasn't even cold. And we realized that if people drink a Coke without it being really, really cold, they're going to hate it. And the expectations of Coke were right up there. But Pepsi used the challenger a bit to create such an interesting story. And it was a runaway success, that promotion. So all that I'm trying to say is that be consistent with your personality. Let people imagine exactly what you are, that you would go and do it. And embed it in an emotion, embed it in something which people can celebrate, enjoy, have fun with, so that to me is really, really important.
That's actually a phenomenal anecdote. In fact, continuing with anecdotes, Sharen, any anecdotes you along your Victoria's Secret's journey that you believe could, brand building perspective, that was like super cool to have done?
Well, I think that when you're a market leader, as just talking about, is that, the expectations are very, very high, because when you're a market leader, you always have to create the next new product. And people are looking at you to be inspirational and aspirational. They want to be entertained. They want to feel like they're part of the community. And so how each and every day you think about new ways to be able to connect with that consumer. And, and things will change. I mean, like, think about this. The iPhone wasn't launched until 2007. Now, no one can live without the iPhone. I mean, think about Zoom. There wasn't a Zoom. So you really have to then play and stay where your customer and these new customers, where are they? And then when you do that, you constantly have to think about, am I resonating them with my brand, with my story, with the entertainment value? And as you know, sometimes you don't just measure things by sales, But also, if you get people engaged in your brand, they become very loyal customers. So the engagement model and how you do that is very important.
Got it. So two beautiful learnings, I mean, one is building the brand is like making a movie. I think that's phenomenal. And humanizing the whole brand, I think is two very, very beautiful takeaways, from this part. So now changing gears a little, I think, you've been in mentoring role for quite some time, both of you. And, I think if I were to put together the AUM of all the companies you've been mentoring, I'm sure it would be like GDP of a small country, right? So any interesting, so one thought process, how do you think, how important is the role of a mentor in the process of helping scale a business, and where all do you feel they can help? And this is more from my entrepreneur's perspective to understand this. Sharen, you could go first.
Sure. First of all, if you're thinking about a mentor, and, basically what that is someone that has been there, done that experience. And as you know, you're only as smart as the ground you grew up on, and you're only as smart as the experiences that you've had. So as a mentor, is that, first of all, if you are mentoring someone, they need to want to have that knowledge. They need to be curious enough to say, this is what we need, what we want. And then it becomes a very collaborative effort, because what I bring is a lot of history, a lot of things that I've done. Things have changed. And so you bring along, and then you say, okay, this is what I've seen, this is how I would handle it. And it becomes a dialogue to say, are there new and better ways, even when I did it, for this in the future? So, but the most important thing is whoever you're mentoring really needs to want that. And then you have to really say, who's responsible to put the agenda together? Because a mentor doesn't know what you're struggling with unless you absolutely tell them. The mentor doesn't know where can they play, because we're not there to do it. We're only there to say, hey, let me help you not fall into this trap. So it's really a two-way street. You have to be able to have a collaborative conversation. And then you use this to say, oh, you've been there, done that. Here's the traps I saw. Here's the watch out. Here are some good ways. Then you're going to add to that for your own way of doing things.
Understood. Ravi sir, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think a mentor, I'll give you the example of when I was mentored. When I joined Times of India as their CEO, the owner Samir Jain took me around his garden for a walk and told me that I want to ask you a question. And he asked me, why do you think people read a newspaper? I never thought of that. I scratched my head and said, why do people read a newspaper? I said, well, to be connected with the world, to be up to date, to, have a decent conversation with others. So he said, yeah, all of that. But why do they really read a paper? And he helped me discover the secret sauce. He said they read a newspaper because they want to get up in the morning, have a look at the paper and say, everything is right with the world. I can survive today. And I thought that was an amazing insight. And so a mentor does that. A mentor helps you uncover the secret sauce, clarifies things, simplifies things, cuts out the noise, tells you exactly what is essential, or helps you understand what is exactly essential. So I think that is the first and important thing that the mentor does. It cuts out the noise because you deal with so many different things. Make sure that you are focused on the right things. Of course, it's a collaborative process. No mentor works in isolation. You need to reach out. The mentor needs to reach out. You need to have a chemistry to understand each other. But I think that is what a mentor does. It helps you understand what is it that you are on about. Second thing that the mentor does is provide expertise, like Sharen mentioned, that provides a sounding board with his experience or her experience, her wisdom, tells you what to avoid, what to do, helps you clear, helps you help you take step in the right direction. I think that's what a mentor does. And lastly, I think a mentor also provides resources for you. He provides the network, he provides people, he helps you provide capital, he helps you provide credibility, he helps you in ways by which he can help, by which, he provides resources to you, network to you, So I think those are the three ways, but it is like Sharen mentioned, it's a dialogue, it's a two-way process. Cannot be one way. Both need to have a collaborative approach, and both needs to seek out each other, and then it's wonderful. It's magic.
Phenomenal. It reminds me of that scene from Matrix. When Neo asked Morpheus, what are you doing, and he said, "I'm opening your mind." So phenomenal stuff there. Phenomenal. I think I have very short time left, and I still have a couple of questions. So I'll keep very quick. In short, what do you think would be the best way for a founder to figure out if the potential mentor is the one for them, right? Since we're talking Matrix, so how to find out if he is the one, right? So any thoughts there? What could be like the key bullets there? Sharen, could you go first?
Yeah, I think that if you think about experience, and then do you have a connectivity with them? If you are speaking with them, can you relate? Can you connect with them? And then again, do they have the expertise and experience from what they've done in their past to make all the connections that you would need? And I think the most important thing is mentors, when you're executing every day, you put your head down and you start to focus. And one of the things a great mentor does too is really pull you up to get a balcony view to help you say, yes, what you're doing today, yes, that's important because you got to get it executed. But really, what are the big priorities? Because as a CEO, you can't do everything. And so what you're really focused on, are those the right priorities you need to be focused on? And sometimes we get so caught up into the day-to-day that we don't get that balcony view of the things that are going to push us forward into the future.
Got it. Ravi, sir?
Yeah, I think it's, what you look for in a mentor, let me go there first. I think you should look for somebody who has the experience, but much more importantly, who has the ability to listen to you, empathize with you, put himself in your shoes, and really add value to you. It really make you think. Somebody who can show you things which you would not see otherwise. I think the way to judge a mentor is it somebody who can make me make big changes to big things? We can all make small changes to small things and we will be incremental. We can even make big changes to small things and that will also take us forward. But a person who's able to make you really conceptualize big changes to big things is a very good mentor, I think.
Phenomenal. So I'll because I've already overshot my time. So I'll end this with like a quick fire, rapid fire question. And you could just quickly answer, what you feel is the right thing or wrong. So quick 5 questions. One is, if you were to choose between the two, and we'll go to Sharen first and then Ravi sir, with the same logic. So if you were to choose between the two, what team would you choose? A small team of smarter people or a big team of really hardworking, but not as smart?
A small team of smarter people who are very, very embedded into the brand.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. Same.
Perfect. What is more important for a consumer business, brand focus versus product focus? Sharen?
Oh, I hate this question. It's because really both, but you know what? You buy product, but
you get only one. You get only one.
A product.
Phenomenal. Ravi sir?
Brand.
Perfect. Given an option, which is a better aspiration to build in 5 years? High growth but unprofitable business or a low growth but a profitable one? Sharen?
High top growth but still unprofitable.
Ravi sir?
High growth.
Got it. Which is better to select, involved investors or passive investors? Sharen?
Involved.
Involved.
Which is better to do, for scaling a business? Raise more money than needed and dilute equity, or raise less money than needed and save equity? Sharen?
You got to raise money more than, you got to raise the money that you need.
Ravi, sir?
I think so. Capital should never be a constraint.
Understood. So I think that's pretty much it from my side. I think, I don't know about others, but I exceptionally love this session. And Sharen, I know it's like, I don't know what, 2:30 in the morning for you. So
wow.
Yes.
Wow.
It is actually 3:02 in the morning now.
Wow. So I think that's one thing that's been for me, at least as a mentee, to learn from you guys is that exceptional dedication to what you do. I mean, it's heartwarming every time we get to have some time together. So thank you so much, guys. Back to you, Mansi. Totally love this session.
Thank you so much. It was great.
Thank you.